January 18th, 2018. It was 4 days after my birthday. That's why I remember the date. I had just gotten home from work and my mom's like, hey, your dad's not feeling well. So I'm like, all right, what's wrong? So I go talk to him. I'm like, Dad, what's up? He's like, got some pain. I don't really feel that well. I'm like, all right, like, where's the pain? He's like, it's here, it's my arm, it's my back. Like, just something's wrong. All right. So like, give him some water. He goes upstairs into his room. He's on the couch downstairs, goes up to the bedroom. Then he goes back down to the couch. So now we're like at 9:30 at night. And I probably heard him go up and down 4 or 5 times. So then at like 10 o'clock, he's in his bed, I'm in my bed, room over, and I just hear convulsing. Like the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. And my mom is like, jumps up out of bed, starts screaming, your dad, he's not breathing. So I remember running over, and I just remember my mom like throwing water at him, screaming at him to wake up. And I'm like, come on, like stop. So I run back into my room, I grab my phone, I call 911. I run back into that room, I have them on the line, and I start giving CPR to my father. Like pumping, like just frantically, just doing anything that we can, like listening to the instructions. So it probably felt like an hour of pumping, which is really like 2 or 3 minutes. They show up and they take him, but he was having a heart attack. And they put a defibrillator on him and they start pumping and pumping and pumping. So take a ride with them, take my dad to the hospital. We go to Yale, New Haven. And I remember sitting in the waiting room. And what's crazy is a year previous to the date, I sat in that same waiting room around that same time. My father's brother had passed away. He had a brain aneurysm, didn't make it. So like now we're just like distraught, like just having the craziest thoughts and whatnot. They had put 3 stents in his heart. He was in a medically induced coma. What they didn't know was did he lose oxygen to his brain? So they like stabilized his heart, but they didn't know if he was gonna be in a coma and whatnot. So that whole day basically goes by, he was still, we're just waiting for him to wake up naturally. So it was just like this long waiting game of what was gonna happen. As I walk into the room, there was 4 or 5 nurses and doctors that were actually giving me like an ovation and saying, hey, your father woke up. He has 100% brain activity. Because you were there to pump him at that night, he never lost oxygen to his brain, which ended up keeping him alive. So they like gave me like a little ovation. So again, something that I'll never forget in my life. But what transpired after all of this was he couldn't work for 3 months, 4 months. We have a restaurant. And my mom and my dad are the only 2 people that work at the restaurant. So he obviously couldn't work. We were open 6 days a week. Monday was a closed day. Because he couldn't work, my brother and I had to actually replace him at the restaurant. So it hit me, had we not had life insurance in place, and had my father not made it or passed away, my life would be drastically different. My brother's life would be drastically different. And again, like I said, if he didn't and he didn't make it, my life would not, I wouldn't be here having this conversation with you today.